Well, I'll keep going. I feel like the other ones might be quicker, maybe? Because the teacup one, I think Tawada's just gonna poison herself, so we won't get the explanation. And the one where we go with Sonozaki, I think we just get shot or something. I don't know. Let's just go. 45 minutes, it's okay. It's a Sunday, man. Would you like some tea? We're all feeling cold, so drinking some tea might help us feel better. I walked over to the kitchen and casually turned the faucet on the sink. But no matter how I turned it, not even a single drop of water came out. Oh no, we're gonna go outside and get shot. This is a ghost town after all. I had initially thought that I'd be able to get some water and light a stove, but after giving it a little more thought, it seemed natural that those facilities wouldn't work. With that in mind, I suppose it's fortunate that we even have electricity. Miyuki-chan followed behind me with a kettle and a water bottle in hand. Naturally, she was completely ready to act. Miyuki-chan winked at me as she poured the bottle of water into the kettle. And then, I twisted the knob on the stove. But even though I did, I couldn't hear the clicking ignition sound. When Miyuki-chan saw that, she opened the compartment under the stove. The batteries had leaked out and the ignition switch was covered in rust. Miyuki-chan stepped out of the kitchen after saying that without waiting for my reply. With nothing else to do, I casually opened the door under the sink to see if anything was in there. The moment I did, a cockroach came crawling out. Man, we can't escape the cockroaches in every bad end. Then that filthy creature made its way out the window. For a while it stood there paralyzed, and it's a live one this time. I heard laughter coming from behind me. It was Miyuki-chan. A frank reply. Miyuki-chan opened the sink door and peered inside as if to show off she wasn't bluffing. There's that police moral code. Well, that's what they should have. Hatred in the eyes of a cockroach? Miyuki-chan spoke brightly, but despite that brightness, I felt perplexed by the subtle nuance in her choice of words. When Miki-chan said that, I wasn't sure if she was talking about cockroaches or human beings. You can barely even see the eyes on a cockroach. But in that case, that means Miki-chan has seen the hateful eyes of someone on the brink of death? And that means if she was looking into the eyes of a person while being killed, then Miki-chan was the one who carried out that killing. Just a little sussy. When I swat the fly, dude, I don't look at it in its eyes. I smiled brightly and laughed to chase away my miserable thoughts. Miki-chan casually responded and put down the portable stove she was carrying. Miki-chan accepted my compliment with a smile, then she attached the gas canister and rotated the switch. I held the flame of my lighter over it, and boom! A grandiose sound rang out as the flames was lit. Miki-chan furrowed her brow as she said that, then reached inside the cupboard. You don't have tea here? Why did her call say I'll make you some tea? Miki-chan puffed her cheeks as she said that. Well, I suppose the line of reasoning has merit. With that in mind, I joined her in the search for tea, but suddenly my hand came to a halt. It's aged like fine wine. Surely it's alright. Also, yeah, I guess it could be poisonous. Tawada. I looked back at the source of that voice and found Tawada-san timidly walking this way. I didn't really think about it, but we did find Tawada dead, drinking tea, so she must have brought some herself. I looked back at the source of the voice and found Tawada-san timidly walking this way. And in her hand, she had a 2-liter bottle of tea. Is this tea pre-poisoned and she's just gonna kill us all? Holy. Get the chat, Tawada. Add more to the K list. Then Miki-chan grabbed the bottle and poured it into the kettle on top of the portable stove. Irony. Stop. Stop. It's too much. Miki-chan flashed a smile, but the look in her eyes didn't look like smiling at all.
そうですよね。でもそういうことってありえるでしょ。
それはそうだけど。
I thought about what Miki-chan said. Our enemy had already cut off our means of communication and our escape route. If they intended to kill us all, poison would be a quick and easy means.
いや、ありえるけど、それじゃここにいる誰かを疑ってるみたいじゃねえかよ。
I think she would actually kill us all, especially if he didn't find anything. She could just leave.
冗談ですよ。そんな真面目に返されると私としても困ります。
Miki-chan laughed as she pulled out paper cups she brought with her.
あとは俺がやっとくよ。これに継げばいいんだろ。
いいですよ。私がやりますから。
そう？
Miki-chan arranged the paper cups while occasionally glancing at Tawada-san and me. When I turned toward Tawada-san, I noticed she was still staring at Miki-chan. Yep, it's poisoned.
さっき使ってたコップがありますから。いいのよ、トワダさん。紙コップいっぱいあるから遠慮しないで。いいんです。別に遠慮なんかじゃない。
Unless she just poisoned her own cup, but it doesn't really make sense. It seemed like they were trying to keep each other from pulling any stunts. What's with this atmosphere? Don't you know, once you start doubting something, everything looks suspicious?
じゃあ、俺はあっちに行ってるから。あと、よろしく頼んでもいい？
あ、はい、もちろん。トワダさんもあっちに行ってていいですよ。あと、私がやりますから。いいえ、あとは私がやります。反町さんこそ向こう行っててください。
Tawada-san responded in a surprisingly bold manner. It suddenly turned back to look at Tawada-san. It seemed clear that Tawada-san didn't trust Miki-chan. What on earth did Miki-chan do to upset her? She did talk about poison tea, which is what she did to kill Takumi.
私がやりますから。大丈夫よ、トワダさん。いいえ。
Oh man.
お茶が沸いたら私が持っていきますから。でも、
Miki-chan seemed equally perplexed by Tawada-san's stubborn insistence. Which wasn't unreasonable. If someone completely shot me down like that, I'd feel terrible.
反町さん、いいからあっちに行っててください。でも十和田さん、顔が真っ青。いいからあっちへ行って。
Tawada-san shouted to cut Miki-chan off. Otobe, Miki-chan, and I could scarcely say anything. We all looked at Tawada-san in astonishment. When the fuck did Otobe get here? I guess he probably would have came after hearing the argument.
すみません。でも本当に私は大丈夫ですから。ここは私がやりますから。皆さんあっちへ行ってくつろいでいてください。
Tawada-san stubbornly pushed herself to the front of the stove. When I thought about why she was going over there, an ominous thought suddenly came to mind. Maybe she doesn't want Miki-chan touching the tea? She mentioned poison when she was joking around earlier. No way. Is Tawada-san truly worried it might get poisoned, and she's keeping an eye on the kettle to make sure? Wrong. You're close, but you're looking at it the wrong way, buddy. Ridiculous. Miki-chan would never do something like that.
それじゃ、二人ともあっち行ってなよ。俺が茶を入れるからさ。
荒川さんもあっちへ行っていてください。
I intended to step between the two of them and say something to calm things down, but Tawada-san pushed me away as well. In other words, she can't trust anyone but herself? It can't be helped. For the time being, I urged Miki-chan to head back to the room with me. You just killed us, Sarutomo. We're drinking poison tea. Yuki-chan and I sat down near Otobei waiting for the tea to warm up. I couldn't think of anything to say. Otobei probably felt the same way. He kept looking down the entire time, trying to avoid making eye contact with any of us. And Miyuki-chan was staring up at the walls and ceilings, looking bored. Occasionally, she glanced in Tawada-san's direction and let out a gentle sigh. Eventually, Tawada-san came over carrying cups full of tea. As she said that, Tawada-san placed a cup in front of each of us. To make sure she didn't drink the poison one? No, that's mine. Based. It's so obvious, man, but I mean, they wouldn't suspect it. You think Miyuki would? This is like so sussy. I reached for the cup in front of Tawada-san. But she gave me a vague smile as she grabbed the cup in front of her. And, in doing so, prevented me from picking it up. Don't do it, Otobei. We already died by poison once this episode. Otobei timidly reached for his cup. Everyone's movements felt somewhat stiff. Or something like that. I took a deep breath to reinvigorate myself and intentionally spoke in a booming voice. No, don't say it. Of course it was an empty show of bravado. I just wanted to do something to relive the tense atmosphere. Relieve the tense atmosphere, even minutely. I drank a sip of the warm tea, then suddenly took a breath. I could feel the warm tea slowly dribbling down my throat and into my stomach. Once again I realized how cold my body was. We were all out in the rain, it's only natural. We're trapped in this village and staying up to avoid being demoned away. It's natural for my heart to have frozen over from all the anxiety and tension. This warm tea should unravel that tension. As I finished drinking the tea, I took a deep breath. Looking beside me, Miyuki-chan was sitting there motionless. Miyuki-chan stared at the paper cup sitting in front of her. She was that suspicious of Tawada-san? There's no other reason for her to hesitate like this. Oh my god. Stop it. Miyuki's spidey senses are tingling. After finishing his teas, Otobei leaned his back against the wall and closed his eyes. And shortly thereafter, Otobei fell asleep with a comfortable look on his face. That's you dying, bro. I lowered myself to the tatami mat and used my arm as a pillow. On the verge of closing my eyes, I took a glance over at Tawada-san. Tawada-san continued staring at us with the paper cup still in hand. The tea in her cup hasn't gone down at all. I tried to say something to Tawada-san, but an instant lethargy suddenly overwhelmed me, forcing my eyes closed. Yep. We dodged a bullet. Well, we didn't. Miyuki dodged a bullet. Good one, Tawada. Thanks for killing us. Unless we're not dead? Kinda seems like a chapter break. Hey. Or maybe it was just... I don't know what happened. Let's continue. These are the same tips. They're not new. I was having a dream. The sun was beginning to set, and I decided to laze my entire afternoon away with a beer in hand. Several empty bags of chips and magazines were scattered across the tatami floor. A blank word processor document was still open on the laptop screen. There hasn't been a single work request in the past month. Every story I've pursued has been flat out rejected. It was a rotten situation. An oppressive heat and the cries of a large brown cicadas came pouring in through the open window. Meanwhile, the ear-splitting ringing of the phone ripped me from my slumber and pulled me back to reality. Should I answer? What should I do? I went my tongue with a swig of beer in hand. It was nasty and lukewarm. I reluctantly reached for the receiver, thinking it would be a work request, and was greeted by the hoarse voice of an old woman. Ah, I'm dreaming about that summer. That was late in the summer of 2003. My grandmother?
Huh?
That unexpected self-introduction left me at a loss for words. My father's mother, in other words.
Oh, 俺だってびっくりですよ。てか、何なんですか認知すらしなかった父が、今さら何の用なんですか
用なんてない。話せば長なるけど、あんたのお父さんは、とっくに死んどるし。
死んでるって、そんな。
8年前に釣り船の事故でな。で、残ってるもんを整理してたら、あの子の日記とか仕事のテープとかが出てきてな。その中に、あんたのことが書いてあったんよ。
It came so suddenly, I struggled to understand it, but it did add up. Since I had plenty of free time at the moment, I hopped on the train that same day and headed to Osaka, where my grandparents lived. The elderly couple lived in an apartment in Osaka Prefecture. Based on my father's diaries and the stories my grandparents told me, my father was a journalist working for a weekly photo magazine in Tokyo. However, he suffered a mental breakdown after a certain stoop, and after numerous transfers, ultimately retired from his position as a reporter. He was acting strange at the time and returned to Osaka, where his parents lived, in order to escape from everything. He also cut off all communication with the woman he was dating at the time, in other words, my mother. He didn't do much work after returning to Osaka. He dug into his savings while scraping by on a day-to-day basis. And one day, 8 years ago, he drowned in an accident where his fishing boat capsized. My father's life came to an end before he was able to recover from the hardships he experienced in Tokyo.
だから、あんたにやれるような遺産は、何にも残ってないんや。悪いな。
いいですよ、そんなの。んなもん、俺だってもらおうなんて思っちゃいねえし。
I've never met any of my father's relatives, so they were essentially strangers to me. I didn't have any strong feelings when I met them. My grandfather's eyes looked somewhat similar to mine, but that was it. And based on the dispassionate way they looked at me, they probably felt the same about me. They probably would have felt more empathetic if I was a child, but I was already a fully grown adult. That was the feeling I got from their expressions.
それでな、東京であの子、ひなみ沢って村のことを取材しとったんよ。
ひなみ沢それって、ひなみ沢大災害が起こった村のことですか
そうや。そんで、その村の生き残りってのを取材した時のテープが出てきてな。更新所使ってあんたのこと調べた時、探偵はあんたは東京で記者やってるって言っとったから、もしかして役に立つんじゃないかと思って。ほれ。
As she said that, my grandmother handed me 2 cassette tapes. The labels were faded and peeling off, but I could just barely read the titles: November 24th, 1983, Shion Sonozaki, and November 28th, 1983, Kichi Maibara. According to my grandfather, these were recordings of interviews with survivors of the Great Hinamizawa disaster of 1983. The tapes were in poor condition and likely to break at any time, but I decided to take them home anyway, just in case they sparked a story of some sort. The fact that these belonged to my father meant little to me. On the way back, they stopped by a second-hand shop and bought a cassette player they were about to throw away, then returned to my tiny apartment. I'd heard various rumors and theories about the Great Hinamizawa disaster in the past, which means I might be able to write an occult article based on these tapes and sell it somewhere. With high expectations, I slipped the Keiichi Maibara tape into the cassette player and pressed the play button. Unfortunately, no matter which way I rotated the tape, I couldn't hear anything but harsh static and faint, unintelligible sounds. I expected better results from something produced with such expensive equipment, and what's more, I didn't even get a return on my own investment here.
20年以上前のテープなんだから当然だよな。
Feeling slightly disappointed, I decided I might as well go grab the Shion Sonozaki tape and try playing it. Despite my low expectations, I suddenly heard a voice breaking through the silence. Judging by the tone and intonation, she was female, likely a young girl. Perhaps she's the Shion Sonozaki from the label on the tape.
結局の言う通りだったんです。お社様は本当にいて、そしてたたりも本当にあった。そしてみんなその怒りを受けて死んでしまった。
Oyasho-sama and the curse? There was a hated tone in her voice as she muttered that. I quickly stopped the tape and carefully rewound it, taking care not to break it. Then I put my headphones and started listening from the beginning. Oh my god. I mean, if you need to, we can use this again.
お社様は本当にいて、そしてたたりも本当にあった。そしてみんなその怒りを受けて死んでしまった。あの子が学校を爆破した時は頭がおかしくなった末にわけのわからない強行でよくもおねえをって思っていましたけどね。でもその翌日にひなみ沢村の全域で生き残ったのは私と同じように警察で事情聴取を受けていたケイちゃんだけで。
Kei-chan. I was confused for a moment not knowing who that was, but then I looked at the label on the other tape in my hand. She's probably referring to the Keiichi Maibara from this tape. Unfortunately, I had no way to confirm this information.
それにしても
I felt an eerie sensation as I listened to the tape. The idea that the Great Hinamizawa disaster was caused by the curse of Oyasho-sama is one of the least credible theories at the moment. But even at the time this interview was conducted, they likely doubted that. After all, even though modern Japanese people are quick to fear paranormal phenomena, they tend not to truly believe in it. They'd say that's impossible or ridiculous anytime it came up in idle chatter. The materialistic values of Western world have penetrated our society, turning our perception of spiritual or speculative phenomena upside down. But despite insisting that everything can be explained through science, they still find themselves fascinated with the supernatural phenomena, and they can't help but fear they might be cursed for doing so. So while they maintain their superficial posture of disbelief, they're still terrified to face the horror head-on. They merely turn their eyes from its existence. But on the other hand, they have a desire to understand the things they fear, and they're willing to get dangerously close to do so. I think that's the true nature of people drawn into the occult. I heard an arrogant voice speak up shortly after the girl finished talking. That was the first time I heard my father's voice. It lacked depth and astringency I would have expected, but I remember that this was when my father was still young and was convinced.
関係者から聞く話も前つばっぽいものばかりだ。だから私はこの災害に何らかの人為的な要素があったんじゃないかって思っている。
He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all.
それを君に聞きたいと思っていたんだけどね。
へえ、それ少し前の私と同じですね。私もたたりなんてものは信じていませんでした。災害が起こるまでねえ、おね
え？
He saw a ghost, Mion? Just then, it sounded like my father's voice cut out after gasping. And then,
信じる信じないは勝手ですけどね。あんまりふざけてくだらない決めつけを続けているとあなたもたたられますよ。まあ実際にその目で見た以上、まだその減らず口を続けることができたら
I mean, in this world with ghosts, I guess supernatural does exist, though. What happened? My father's tone and demeanor completely changed. He groaned in astonishment, his fear audible through the static of the old tape. What could have happened? Or rather, what on earth did he see?
富武さんは喉をひっかいて死んだ。高野さんは山奥で丸焦げになって死んだ。お姉やリカちゃま、聡子はバラバラになって死んだ。
Rip. Hey, then why did I guess they could have just went full throttle when Rita died.
じゃああ
But
なたは
Takano didn't get her fun.
どんな死がお望み？
なかなかに手の込んだ冗談だね。それはどういう意味なのかな。
これから足音には気をつけた方がいいですよ。道を歩いている時に立ち止まって足音が一つ余計に聞こえたら、あなたをたたるために後ろをついてきてるってことだから。あー、ひょっとしたら今も聞こえるかもしれませんね。ほら、
Spooky.
あれ、本当に聞こえたんだ。じゃあ決まりですね。富武さんが自殺、高野さんが焼死、お姉たちが爆死なら、あんたは水死だ。
She took Keiichi's role. We did hear that earlier in this story, though. That Shion did it instead of Keiichi this time. I jumped back immediately and threw the headphones aside without even thinking. What was that just now? And even more than that, the drawing on the tape clearly said he would drown to death. My father really did drown to death, just as the prophecy foretold. I heard a footstep coming from behind. Wait, please just wait a moment. Well, what is Oyasho-sama doing here? It's just a guy? Oh wait, no. We woke up from our dream. That moment, the tatami floor was transformed into a dark void. If I fell into it, I'd be swallowed whole. Then my consciousness quickly faded. My dream ended there, and I was awakened. I slowly opened my eyes. The ceiling of an unfamiliar room was spread out before me. Where am I? I got up and took a look around. It was a spacious tatami-lined room. Ah, I was dreaming. Oh no, the peaceful music before the storm? Oh! We were knocked out the whole time. An unfamiliar man was kneeling by my side.
どうしましたか？あんた誰って、あなたこそどちらの方ですか？俺は荒川です。フリーのライターで。
I struggled to piece together my current situation. Based on his outfit, he looks like a plainclothes officer, probably a detective following up on Otabe's report.
練炭自殺の車、わかりましたか？はい？警察の人ですよね。はい。
Fate guy? He's Yakuza?
そうですか。
I wasn't thinking clearly at all. It felt like my mind was in a haze. How can I explain this? I took a look around. It was still dark outside the window. How long was I asleep for? There's nobody else in the room aside from the officer and myself. Huh? Nobody.
どうしました？他の人？他の人？みゆきちゃん。いや、女性が2人と男性が1人、この部屋にいたはずなんですが。いえ、私が来た時、ここにはあなたしかいませんでしたよ。
What? Oh no, this is the bad ending. Arkaw thinks they got demoned away, but I don't even know what happened then. What is going on? We were all here drinking the tea Tawada-san brought us. And then after feeling relieved, we started getting tired and fell asleep. That much made sense. The question that was what came after. Wondering how long I slept for, I glanced at my watch. The hands pointed to 11 o'clock. That can't be. When I arrived in Hinamiza and Miyuki-chan's car, it must have been around 10 or 11 p.m., which means... Nope. What? The policeman gave me a dubious look. For now, I asked him to verify if the events that transpired before I fell asleep were just a dream, but that appears not to be the case. If he assumed that, then what does this mean? Right, there are actually 4 people drinking tea in here. The paper cups that should have been sitting in front of us were all tidied up. Like, why are you here? Can we just ask him why he's here? Like, what? I'm kind of confused too. There are no indications of other people. Where did everyone go? Even though I looked around, it appeared I was the only one here.
ところで荒川さん、さっき練炭自殺とかおっしゃっていましたが、はい。案内していただけますか?
Oh my god. You know what would be funny if they somehow replaced the bodies in the car with Miyuki-chan, Tawada, and Otobe? I don't know how or why they would do that, but it'd be kind of funny. As I sat there absent-mindedly, the policeman grabbed my hand and asked me in a monotone voice. I gave him a vague answer, but for some reason, alarm bells were going off inside my head. It feels like there's a far more serious incident going on than a group suicide. What if this guy's like Yakuza and he's just gonna kill us in the suicide car? That's what I'm feeling. Like, we don't even know why he's here. No, it's just not a feeling. Everyone is gone aside from myself. Could this be another disappearing incident? The policeman forcefully lifted me by my arm, seeming to ignore what I was trying to say, and then...
案内してください。練炭自殺の車はどっちなんですか？それよりですね、今ここでそれよりももっと大変なことが起こってるみたいで。ここでは何ですから、車でゆっくりお聞きしますよ。
The policeman tried to avoid making eye contact as he started walking off. There's something weird about this policeman. The alarm bells were ringing even louder inside my head. Yeah, this guy's a fake, dude. Show me your badge. I left the assembly hall pretty much dragged away by the police officer. The rain was still coming down hard. 3 more police officers were waiting just outside the assembly hall. Then, as I descended the stone steps, it felt like I was surrounded by them. Oh no, this is Yakuza, man. It's fucking Yakuza. And I guess our car didn't see Yakuza at this point. Wait a minute. Why is it a black car? Even if these are plainclothes detectives, shouldn't they have come in a patrol car? The policeman I met earlier pushed me into the back seat and then sat down next to me.
この人、練炭自殺見たそうですよ。ほう。ええ、まあ。
Bruh, we're so dead.
車種は何人乗っていました？え、何人って？死んだ人見たんでしょ？
I could hear a hint of curiosity in the police officer's voice. I shot a look of displeasure at the officer sitting next to me.
あんまりよくは見てませんでしたから。ほう。
The policeman sounded disappointed as he said that. With no further questions, the car began lurching forward.
最近解禁されたとはいえ、こんなとこには人なんか寄りつきませんからね。あなたが発見していなければ、集団自殺の車なんて半永久的に見つからなかったかもしれませんね。その辺を掘り返したら、白骨の一つや二つすぐ出てきますよ。こんな村二度と来たくないですよ。
The officer holding the steering wheel spoke in a tone that made it sound like we were heading off on a sightseeing trip. The high beams lit the way as we traveled down the pitch-black road. No matter where I looked, I couldn't see anything but trees. The officer sitting beside me pulled out a cigarette and lit it with his lighter. The surrounding area was illuminated for a moment. Swing? In that moment, I noticed something red glittering between the seat and the backrest. A ruby earring? I'm certain that Miyuki-chan was wearing ruby earrings. Which means that was one of Miyuki-chan's earrings? However, the light disappeared too quickly for me to make certain, and the car once again enveloped in darkness. His unpleasant tone made it hard to say anything back. In my current situation, the stench of cigarette smoke was of no consequence. The question is, what is Miyuki-chan's earring doing in a place like this? There's no way our earring could have fallen off in here. In which case, maybe it's just a coincidence? As I sat beside the smoking police officer, I held my breath and started thinking. What on earth happened to Miyuki-chan? I wonder if we were dead from poison, or the other two died from poison, and they were just collecting bodies, and then Arakawa just woke up, or something, when he was supposed to be dead. And speaking of that, I was worried about Tawada-san and Otobe too. No way, were they all demoned away? And maybe these guys are the ones responsible? Those disturbing ideas dominated my thought process. The warning bells inside my head were ringing even louder. I wanted to get out of here. I wanted to get out of this car and run away as soon as possible.
それでさっき言ってたもっと大変なことっていうのは何なんですか？いや、遠慮しないで言っちゃってくださいよ。本当に集会所には誰もいませんでしたか？いませんよ。
The policeman stared vacantly at me.
誰もいませんでしたよ。あなた以外はね。そもそもこんな廃村に人なんかいるはずないでしょう。もしかして幽霊でも見たんじゃないですか？
The officer completely rejected my assertion. Eventually, we passed a fork in the road and started heading downhill.
ちょっとこっちじゃないですよ。いいんですよ、こっちで。いえ、練炭自殺の車はこっちじゃないですよ。今の道を左です。練 練炭自殺。あなた、そんなものが見たいんですか?
Okay. The officer said that in a menacingly lower voice. A chill crawled up my spine. These people, they're not police officers. Doubt sprung up inside me.
どこへ向かっているんですかね?
I tried my best to stay calm as I asked that. My heart was pounding so hard it was about to leap out of my chest at any moment.
そんなこと、あなたが知る必要なんてありませんよ。
The car climbed the mountain road, then descended. We passed by the swamp where the gas originated from, then drove along the river.
こっちは沖宮じゃないですよね。だからあなたは行き先なんか知る必要はないんですよ。
The car pressed on in the drizzling rain, weaving through the darkness. Several months later. Excuse me? That is a very sudden time skip. Summer had ended, autumn had ended, and the new year was about to begin. The editorial department at the Weekly 7 was bustling. Like always, phones were ringing, people were talking, and books and manuscripts were piling up on everyone's desks. The faces of the young editorial staff members lit up once editor Kano gave them the go-ahead. Among the young editorial staff, Arakawa was absent. Kano quickly finished up the paragraph, then grabbed a cigarette and sat down on the sofa for a much-needed break. He muttered that in a defeated tone. Ryunosuke Arakawa had gone missing after leaving to investigate Hinamizawa a few months ago. There's a good chance he was caught up in some sort of incident. Though the police have been searching desperately, they still haven't found any clues. Rumors suggest that the Sonozaki group put pressure on the police over the course of the investigation. Naturally, the Sonozaki group denied any involvement in the incident, and there's no evidence to substantiate those rumors. People on the internet have been whispering that this is the work of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Word got out that Arakawa's father had also investigated Hinamizawa in the past, so the curse claimed the lives of 2 generations of the family. Kano smiled bitterly, but then changed the channel on the TV. That's me! The next moment, Arakawa's face was being displayed on the TV screen. Kano was so shocked he dropped his cigarette. Rip, my bro. Kano rushed back to his desk and spread out a map. In addition to the Mie Prefecture, the Kisogawa River also ran through Aichi and Gifu. Following the river upstream led to Hinamizawa village. A young editor watching TV called out to Kano. His voice sounded surprisingly curious, which was to be expected since this man wasn't acquainted with Arakawa. As Kano pondered that, he turned back toward the TV. Curse of Hinamizawa Village claims the lives of father and son. Suddenly, titles like that ran through the back of Kano's mind. And what happened to Ryunosuke Arakawa's travel companion, Miyuki Sorimachi, and the people he met there, Akira Otabe, Yae Tawada, Takumi Kurosawa, and Mion Sonozaki, their fate was completely in the dark. The truth of this incident remains a mystery. The truth behind all of these mysteries are swallowed by the village where man-eating demons dwelled. Dude, that's not a good ending. It wasn't as long as the other one, and it's an interesting take of what if the Yakuza won the fight because fucking Tawada poisoned a bunch of the crew so he didn't Trying to do the light trick. So fucked up. It's pretty sad. Everyone's dead, I assume. Okay. I assume the other ending will be pretty short too, so. My ears. My ears. Let's go. We're speed running. It is here. Waiting here's the good ending, so I'll go with you's the bad ending, I think.
俺も一緒に行きます。
あ、僕も。
Right, maybe I should just double check that real fast. Ah. Console. Console Arku. Wait. Higurashi? It's in the GitHub, I think. Yeah, walkthrough for Yoigoshi. Wait, yeah, wait here's the true end, so go with bad end. 1, so we did it in the wrong order, but whatever. Shouldn't matter, I think. I threw on my sneakers and dashed out of the assembly hall after Sonozaki-san, and Otobe hastily chased after me from behind.
おい、乙女。ついてくるなら懐中電灯。
あ、そうだ。
As Otobe said that, he ran back to the assembly hall, Shurat, to grab the flashlight he left behind. Then I chased after Sonozaki-san. For a while now, I've had a strong feeling that Sonozaki-san knows something about our current situation. If that's the case, I won't step away from her until I hear some answers. And I felt that if I gave her a pass for even a moment, something else was bound to happen. I had no idea what it might be, but I was certain that I shouldn't give Sonozaki-san the opportunity. Swing? Swing? Otobe ran toward us with a flashlight in hand. The light absentmindedly swayed up and down, left and right, shining all around. When Sonozaki saw that, she raised an eyebrow slightly. Otobe stared at Sonozaki's hand with a blank face that seemed to ask why. However, she silently walked over to the boy, grabbed his hand, and pointed the flashlight downward. After tossing that warning out, Sonozaki-san turned and began walking once again. Otobe looked perplexed and turned to me for support. Indeed, it's difficult to search for anything if you can't see beyond your own feet. No, wait a minute. In other words, Sonozaki-san didn't want to illuminate our surroundings. Was it because she didn't want someone to know our location? And who could that someone be? Enough of that. Thinking wildly is even less productive than not thinking at all. As I thought that, I continued walking and urged Otobe forward. When we reached the base of the stone steps, the road extended to the left and right. The road to the right led back the way we came, and the road to the left headed toward the center of the village. Sonozaki-san began walking to the left without saying a word. The rest of us followed behind her. I couldn't hear anything but the sound of the rain striking the trees and our footsteps on the muddy road. No matter how far we walked down the straight, pitch-black road, I couldn't see any cars. Wait a minute. There's really a car, right? Her carefree tone only heightened my doubts. Was Sonozaki-san simply trying to lure us to a remote location? And was her goal to dispose of us? This was no time to be joking around. I shook my head to starve off my unpleasant thoughts.
本当に見当たらないね。こりゃひょっとすると、私の車も鬼隠しにあっちまったのかね。
あのな、こういう時に変な冗談はよしてくれよ。
園崎さん、本当に車で来たんですよね。
当たり前だろ。乙部までそんなことを言い出すのかい？
だって、いえ、すみません。
大体あんた、あの神社に何の用で来たんだよ。
言わなかったかい？西宮殿に用があったのさ。
The ritual storehouse was the building housing all of Hinamizawa's ritualistic tools, but they were rituals in name only. The tools were used for torture. What on earth was she trying to do in a place like that?
だから西宮殿なんかに何の用があったんだって聞いてんだよ。
根掘り葉掘り聞くのが好きなのはあんたの性分かい？
The frustration in Sonozaki-san's tone essentially told me to shut up without actually saying it. However, I wasn't about to bend to her will, because if I went silent at any time, that sort of thing happened, I wouldn't be much of a writer. I stretched my bravado as hard as I could and continued pressuring her.
悪いが、おかしいと思ったらとことん聞くのは俺の性分なんでね。実際に俺たちは事件に巻き込まれてる。だから今はとにかく不安要素を取り除いておきたいんだ。ちょっとくらい教えてくれてもいいだろう。
あんたは知らない方がいいよ。
どういうことだよ。
言葉通りの意味さ。
Sonozaki-san's answer was curt. Her expression was austere. She seemed intent on not saying anything more. Then she sealed her lips and continued walking silently. Swing me? That very moment, a flashlight began swaying erratically.
どうした乙女。
今、何か確かに。
Otoboy pointed his flashlight left and right, searching for something. There was an old tire laying on the side of the road for who knows how long.
何かって何を見たんだ。
今、何か音がしましたよね。
音？
Otoboy and I turned our flashlights toward the forest. However, our lights couldn't reach the recesses of the forest. They could only vaguely illuminate the country road and the weeds growing beside it.
誰かいますよ。
気のせいだろ。行くよ。
おい。
So Nozaki-san paid it little heed and continued walking. Though I didn't feel any signs of human presence either.
荒川さん、
とにかく行こうぜ。いくら探してもこんなチャチな懐中電灯じゃわかんねえだろうし。
でも。
いいから行くぞ。
Though Otobe continued to hesitate, I turned back and kept walking. I vaguely made out some houses as we traveled down the road. It looked like a small community where few residents had lived. Several houses appeared to be lined up, but I couldn't discern anything about them in this darkness. Even if someone was lurking in one of those houses, it would be tough to find them.
変だね。こんなに遠くに止めたはずはないのに。
本当に？
Oh wait, didn't like the car crash and she like turned into Mion, right?
本当さ。
As she said that, Sonozaki-san walked down a straight road running between two houses. The uninhabited houses were all lined up waiting for us.
やっぱり引き返しましょうよ。車なくなってるんですよ。
そりゃそうだけど、もうちょっと探してみようじゃないか。
The tone of Otobo's voice made it clear he was ready to give up, but she completely tuned it out and steadily continued walking. Hold on, isn't that odd? I don't know what part of the village we're in, but we've walked a long way from the shrine. Even if the car was out here, she wouldn't have forgotten where she parked it. So, in other words, Sonozaki-san brought us out here because she wanted to get away from the shrine?
もう戻りましょうよ。集会所でまたみんなで相談すればいいじゃないですか。
相談？なんだよ相談って。車がなきゃ俺たちはこの村から出られねえんだぞ。
それはそうですけど、だってこの辺りってなんか嫌な感じがしますよ。
I don't need you telling me that. I grumbled that in my head, but decided to encourage him and tell him he was overthinking it, annoyed by the idea of simply accepting it.
誰も住んでねえからそう感じるだけだってば。考えすぎるんだよ。情報がなさすぎるとさ、何もないものをあると錯覚したり。
そうじゃないんですよ。だから。
おい、大きい声を出すんじゃないよ。
はい。
Sonozaki-san continued walking down the road as she saw Otobe nod, frantically surveying her surroundings along the way. What on earth is she looking for out here? There was something oddly suspicious about Sonozaki-san right now. I had reached a point where I could no longer quietly follow along.
おい、園崎さんよ。一体どこまで行くんだよ。
おかしいね。車がないんだよ。
Keep saying it.
だからこんな遠くには止めてないんだろ。
そうなんだけどね。
I had a bad feeling about those words. Maybe the car really did disappear?
もう一回聞くけど、あんた本当に車に乗ってきたんだろうな。
当たり前だろ。ほれ、これが私の車だよ。
Excuse me, why did they use the sound of a gun cocking? Sonozaki-san dangled her keys right in front of my nose. A certainly colorful keychain jangled from the tip of the keyring. It certainly looked like a set of car
止めた
keys.
のはどのあたり？
神社から一番近い民家の脇の草むらの中さ。
は？それってもうとっくに通り過ぎてるじゃねえかよ。
だからおかしいって言ってんだよ。
As she said that, Sonozaki walked by the vacant houses and checked them one by one. I understand not finding the car, but why is she checking the houses? Every house was in shambles. I could see the completely dark and quiet rooms beyond the broken windows. An open door flailed to and fro in the wind. The rain continued falling quietly. The hinges creaked as the door shouldn't have gone nearby slowly opened. Clara. That moment, Otobe dropped his flashlight, and the surrounding area was swallowed by the darkness.
すみません。
Otobe knelt down and grabbed the flashlight, but he had trouble getting it to light up. He fiddled with the switch, but it wouldn't turn on.
どうした？
すみません。これ壊れちゃったみたいです。
Classic Otobe.
何やってんだよ。
すみません。
いや。
I got caught up in the moment and started yelling. After all, I was having a hard enough time just walking around a ghost town with a mysterious woman. But to have her light stop working on top of that? The fear and anxiety blended together inside my heart, accumulating in a vague sense of unease. I immediately began to regret lashing out at Otobe.
悪かったな。声を荒げたりして。
いえ、僕が悪いんです。すみません。でもやっぱり聞こえますよね。時々
Uh-oh.
人が走っ
I
てるよう
mean,
な
yeah.
足音が。
Yakuza.
足音
I listened carefully. The sound of the rain and wind. It mixed together with that. I turned in the direction of the sound. It was a house. Nobody should be living there, but I'm certain I heard a sound just now.
大方狐かタヌキだろ。
Real Tanuki?
確かめに行ってみようじゃないか。
Excuse me, Mion? Sonozaki-san started walking toward the source of the sound. In her hand, she firmly clenched the blade containing her katana. Then she stopped and listened very carefully.
乙部の言う通り、確かにいるね。
何が
ネズミかもね。
That moment, a shadow moved across the house.
静かに。
Sonozaki-san held a hand over Otobe's mouth to silence him. I'm certain that was the shadow of a person. A black shadow inside that house. Impossible. This is an abandoned village, but that was definitely a person. My knees were trembling.
なんでだよなんなんだよありゃ。
荒川も騒ぐんじゃないよ。
Then Sonozaki-san unsheathed her katana and walked toward the house where the shadowy figure lurked.
園崎さん
荒川さん、僕たちどうしたら。
死ぬかよ。
We kept a close eye on Sonozaki-san's surroundings as she walked down the road. Her cool expression made it clear she didn't need watching over. There wasn't much we could do to protect her. I couldn't help but tremble as I watched. Sonozaki-san stopped in front of the small two-story wooden house. The tin awning of the roof was peeling off, but the front door was still firmly attached. Still clenching her sword, Sonozaki-san kicked the door open in a single forceful blow. The surrounding area was still quiet. Sonozaki-san carefully stepped inside the pitch-dark house. Otobe and I each held our breath as we watched her go. After a while, Sonozaki-san came back looking disappointed.
誰もいやしないよ。
嘘でしょ。だって僕確かに見たんですよ。
私だって見たよ。誰かが確かにこの家に入っていくのをね。でも、いないんだよ。
一体何がどうなってるんだ。
Sonozaki-san put her sword away. However, she muttered something as she did.
敵が動き出していることは間違いないようだね。
敵って。
それ以上は言えないよ。
ちょっとあんたなんで言えないんだよ。大事なことだろうが。
大きな声を出すんじゃないよ。 鬼に取り殺されても知らないよ。
鬼。
Otobe, Sonozaki-san, and I stood in the middle of the country road, carefully listening to our surroundings. Thump thump. Once again, I heard noises coming from one of those houses.
どうしようかね。
どうするって何をどうするんだよ。
あんたたち、本当に死んじゃうかもしれないね。
Sonozaki-san looked Otobe and I each directly in the eyes as she said that with a serious look on her face. It's hard to tell how serious she's being when she used words like die. It certainly doesn't seem like she's joking around, but are we seriously in a situation with the risk of death? What the hell for? How high is the risk? It was completely beyond all imagination. It seemed pointless to think about it any further when I clearly had no clue what was going on.
私はここでネズミを片付けていくけど、あんたたちはどうする？
そりゃ俺たちは戻らせてもらうよ。集会所でも何でも。
でも荒川さん、車はやっぱりないんですよね。
His comment stunned, and I choked on my words.
そうだね。悪いけど、歩いて帰るしかなさそうだ。
What? We're leaving Miyuki?
十和田さんたちは大丈夫なんでしょうか。
Those few words from Otobe made me catch my breath. That's right, Miyuki-chan. She's still back in the assembly hall with Tawada-san. Miyuki-chan should be nursing Tawada-san right now, but what if the rat Sonozaki-san mentioned had made their way to the assembly hall? Anxiety quickly fired up as I thought about Miyuki-chan. If those rats knew that two defenseless girls were inside, they'd attack without hesitation, wouldn't they?
俺、集会所に戻ります。二人が心配だ。
ああ、それがいいよ。乙部はどうする？
僕も
You're not coming?
一緒に行きます。
Excuse me? Why doesn't Mion go and we leave? It seems like a better idea.
わかった。私も後から行くよ。
それじゃあミオさん、また。
ああ、よく気をつけてな。
We ran back the way we came in a hurry. I occasionally tripped over my own feet and stumbled. Without our flashlight, it was difficult to walk down the road just by the moonlight. However, the darkness wasn't the only thing making it difficult to walk. I was terrified. Some unknown creature was wandering around this village aiming to take our lives. That alone was enough to petrify me.
荒川さん、
バカ、手なんか握ろうとすんなよ。
Come on, just be a bro and hold hands.
でも暗くてよくわかんないじゃないですか。
だからって手つないで歩くことねえだろ。
It's just friendship. It's a friendship hand-holding experience, okay? We moved at a quick pace and made it back before we knew it. When we came this way from the shrine, it seemed to go on forever, but coming back took no time at all.
あ、ここですよ、荒川さん。
ああ、
Uh-oh. As I rushed back in a hurry, my foot slipped on a patch of mud and I tumbled down on my butt. Good one. Bro, I thought he got shot or something.
荒川さん、気をつけてくださいよ。
I wiped the mud off my pants as I rose to my feet.
大丈夫ですか？
悪い悪い。行こうぜ。
Just then, I noticed that the rain had stopped and I could see the moon between the clouds. As I climbed the stone steps illuminated by the moonlight, I heard Otobe faintly shout "Eat" from behind me.
どうした？
荒川さん、ズボンについてるのって。
I turned to look at the butt of my pants. I had a bad feeling about it. Was it just mud? But then he started to speak up.
それって血じゃないですか？
It was dark and hard to tell, so I cautiously moved both of my hands closer to my eyes and then I froze. It wasn't a mud puddle, it was a blood puddle. Though they were totally soaked, I could tell it was something other than mud, with a distinct aroma like rusted iron. And it was on both of my hands?
いつの間に。
Otobe stared at me with a terrified look in his eyes as he slowly backed down the stone steps one stair at a time. I did fall down just now, and then I wiped the mud away with my hands. So that puddle of mud was actually a puddle of blood?
おい、違うって。俺は何も。
Obviously, but isn't he going to look at the body?
嫌だ。
Oh no, Otobe's actually tweeting.
死にたくない。
Classic Otobe. Otobe turned to look away, then dashed into the thicket to get as far away from me as he could.
おい、乙部。
You saw us trip into a puddle.
待てってば、おい。
Why are you freaking out? Bro, he's dead. Otobe's silhouette was completely swallowed by the darkness. Once again, I was surrounded by silence. Who did this blood come from? And why was there a pool of blood out here?
そうだ、みゆきちゃん。
Miyuki-chan and Tawara were still in the assembly hall at the top of the stone steps. No way, did something happen? I charged up the steps at full speed. Something is going on at the shrine. Miyuki-chan, Tawara-san, please be safe, both of you. I dashed up the steps like mad, and then ran through the shrine gate and headed straight for the assembly hall. The light in the assembly hall was still on.
みゆきさん、十和田さん。
I stepped inside without waiting for a reply. A fishy stench struck my nose. They died. Oh god. Miyuki-chan was lying down in the entry hall with half her face obscured by her hair. Blood was steadily pouring out of her stomach, making periodic dripping sounds like a leaky faucet. This is real. This really happened.
みゆきさん。
I knelt down to check Miyuki-chan's face. Her lips were pale. I put a hand on her neck to feel for a pulse, but her body was cold and firm. I understood that she was already gone. This can't be true. Why? Why did Miyuki-chan have to die?
みゆきちゃん。
I tried to gently lay Miyuki-chan's corpse down, but then I suddenly stopped. I saw something in Miyuki-chan's hands. A handgun? I tried to pick it up, but rigor mortis had already started to set in, so I couldn't loosen the grip on her hands. Why does she have a handgun? The gun in Miyuki-chan's hand felt heavy, and the aroma of gunpowder wafted from the muzzle. Perhaps this gun belongs to Miyuki-chan? Was she carrying this while she came to the village with me? Miyuki-chan, just who were you? I quietly lowered Miyuki-chan's hand and took a look around. The shoe rack was trashed. Maybe they were searching the house? All the closet and cabinet doors were open and their contents spilled out too. Who did this, and for what purpose? I struggled to soothe my throbbing heart as I stepped into the main room. There were deep red footprints on the tatami mat. They were big, 26 to 27 centimeters long. These are men's footprints. Immediately after I entered the assembly hall, I stopped in my tracks. The closet was open and its contents spilled out. And right next to the mountain of futons was another corpse.
十和田さん。
Tawara-san was lying on the ground on her back. A huge amount of blood was flowing out of her neck, dyeing the futons next to her a deep red. And looking closer, I noticed another corpse in the back of the room. No way. Is this who attacked Tawara-san and Miyuki-chan? Miyuki-chan resisted with her handgun and fled into the other room where she took her dying breath? Who the hell did this other corpse belong to? I cautiously approached the other corpse. Bang bang. I heard a try sound like a firecracker going off, coming from the shrine grounds. The next moment, bang. I heard the sound again, and a window in the assembly hall shattered that very moment. The bullet hit the light bulb, so the interior was bathed in darkness and in a flash. So I didn't get to recognize it was Takumi's body. That's for the true ending. I shouted in the most intimidating voice I could muster immediately after that. Bend, bend, bend. For a moment, it felt like I heard the sound of the wind. I felt something hot between my eyebrows, and then everything went black. The whole thing happened so fast. They must have fired in the direction of my voice. My voice literally killed me. I can't believe this is where I die. And so, with still no idea who or what Sonozaki-san was, without learning the truth behind Michi-chan or any of the other people I met here, and failing to unravel any of the mysteries found here, my consciousness faded into oblivion. Dun dun dun. But it's only a chapter break. We're gonna get some more? Some more backstory? Because we got some Arakawa backstory last time. Nope. Okay, boys and girls. We have successfully done all the bad endings. They were pretty fun. I think my favorite is the second one, honestly. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll do a review whenever the next video is scheduled. But yeah, that was a good experience. Way longer than I thought. That was 3 hours of bad endings. But I guess if you bought this, like the console version of this, it's a lot of content like included in. So I guess it could be considered pretty fun too. Extra me? I don't know why I clicked that. Anyways, yeah, next time when we start the new arc, I believe it is, where is it? I believe it's probably this one, but I'll double check. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you later. Definitely it's gonna be 2 videos because we're not uploading a 2-hour video, man. But yeah, see you next time. Peace.